Welcome back everybody to another Mill Monday video. With this one I'm going to show you very briefly a few techniques you can do in tapestry weaving. So if anyone's got a frame loom at home or have made their own or has one on the way, there's just a few little techniques you can pick up here. If there is something that you enjoy and you want to see more of, please just let us know in the comments and I'll do another video with a few more little techniques you can use in tapestry weaving. So with this one we're only going to learn as much as you can see on this one, so being able to make blocks like this, doing some little loops and some tassels, but there are other techniques you can do that allow you to do patterning like this and all sorts of different stuff like right loops and all sorts. So for this one obviously just we're going to do what we had on the first one. All I've got so far is my warp yarn, a needle, and a lot of little looms like this will come with little combs, but I use a fork. I have also got some chunky-ish yarn there and some wool and bits to make my warp up with. So this particular little loom isn't one I usually use for tapestry weaving. I have made little coasters off this one, which is really good, but I've currently got something on my great big, well it's not great big, but relatively larger than this frame loom, and it's even got a bit so you can find your gap easier. But we're working on this one because it'll be a lot quicker for me to show you the techniques rather than you waiting for me to do this whole massive row. So for this I'm going to start putting my warp on. You can tie your warp on at the beginning, but I find it easier just to loop it round. So literally just looping it round on itself, and as you can see that's not really going to go anywhere once you've got it tightened. Oh, I'm going to rack it. Cool, so now I'm going to go into this one, I'm going to come round the next one, I'm going to come back into the one I just came out of, and then come down again. You don't have to do it like this. You can just continue to go in the same one out, the same one in and out the next one along. But if you'll have a lot larger gaps, and I'm not after that. I want it to be slightly tighter weave. But if you've got some really chunky stuff, that'll be really good that way. I'm just keeping a tension as I'm going round. So with it, I'm just holding my tension down. Going into that one, coming back, going into this one, just a little bit off my bit there, and then go round into the next one, round into there, and that's all I'm doing. I'm just going round and then round. I'm going to do it as wide as the loom. Oh, nearly. Very easy to just go on to the next one. I have done that a few times and to go back. But yeah, I'm not going to do the whole width because again, no one wants to sit and watch me do it for God knows how long. So I'll just go a nice width to show everybody what's going on. I'll probably finish it off around here. So just wrapping it. So it's very easy to lay off the slack. The other thing about not tying it is if I do then go and go, oh actually it's really quite soft there, you can do a pull and just loosen that off and then tie it back round again. But if you've got a knot it's quite fiddly to undo, and if you cut it off then it's too short, and so I'm a bit excessive with wrapping it around because I always worry it's going to come off, but that'll hold. So I've got my warp here. Everything seems actually to be quite a nice even tension. You want to make sure these aren't really loose at the end because they do go loose and then it's a bit saggy on the edges and they get pulled in easier. Cool, so what I'm going to do is I do the same with everyone I start. I'm just going to get a bit of what I'm going to use as my main stuff. It's quite chunky. I'm just going to thread it through. You can use a shuttle, but with this size one, I'm not doing that very well, but with this sized one I tend to use a needle. It's just a lot easier. Oh no, I've not got a nice bit of that, have I? this. That's better. There we go. Cool. And then literally just dig in, I guess. So just going under, over, all the way across. I tend to use a relatively thick one, not super chunky at the beginning because it builds a bit quicker. It makes this a bit more solid. I'll do that on most of my hand looms as well, the like tabletops and stuff, because it just breaks this up a little bit more, because as you can see at the moment they're quite twisted on each other. But this will pad it out, build that first little bit for you. I do quite like these size ones as well, because I mean, you get nice big wall hangings, but you can put several of these little ones together on a wall and they'll actually look quite nice. You could do like big chunky bits in it and all sorts. I've done ones that look like little clouds with rainbows before. So you make a big chunky bit here and then all your tassels coming down in different colours from a rainbow. So it kind of looks like a rain cloud that's raining rainbows, but it's all good. So with my tassels, I'm going to put them at the bottom. But I am going to just put a nice row of this in first to hold them in place. Because if you just put your tassels on the bottom straight away, it just doesn't hold the same when you tie it off. I'm just going to go through. I reckon this one I'll probably about right. Goes like that. I'm just going to leave a nice long bit. If you watch the rag rub weaving video, you'll know that I'm leaving a relatively longish tassel so that I can later, when it's finished, thread that back through the back, tuck it round the back so it can't be seen. Cool. So I'm going to just use that same yarn. Also, you go for whatever you think's best. I'm not going to do massive ones because obviously these are, it's only a little one, so I'm probably just going to wrap it around 3 times like that. So all I've done is got several ends, or if you've got something just chunky on its own like that, depending on what you're after. So all I'm going to do is I've got 2 here, and I'm just got over, this is over the top, and then one end is going to go wrap round one of them, so just one of those 2 like that, so you can see like that, and then the other one I'm getting it and it's going around the other side of that one, so it's just looped round, and then all I'm going to do is pull it down, and that's a tassel. So just again, I mean, if you measure off, you've got a better, like, you go, okay, that's going to be the length of that. But to be honest, most of the time I'll make mine longer than I want them to be, so I can trim them neater, or sometimes it's really nice to do like a diagonal cut. So, and around there, and there, and just pulling that across. As you can see why now I did a smaller one, because it is definitely something that takes a little time to do. So I am only just showing these techniques, but if it is something you're interested in, me showing you a whole piece where you can see how I take it off, how I stitch the ends to keep it level, well, to keep it together, sorry, and then please do write in the comments and ask for those videos, and I can certainly do some of those for you. Obviously there's a lot I still can't do. I'm not confessing to know everything about tapestry weaving, but there's enough that I can show you some bits. As you can see, like, even with these, just doubling it 3 times over, it's quite chunky. Okay, as you can see, I've left myself in a situation where I'm finishing down here instead of up here because I'm not finished with 2. But what I can do is just cheekily take 2 as if they are 1. Like that. And you should be none the wiser. Just looks a little bit wider at the end, but it doesn't matter. Cool, so I'm just going to shovel these up like that. And so it just gives it a little bit of padding, and again at the end I can chop them or I can leave them a little loops, that's all what you fancy. Cool, and again I'm just going to get a little bit of the same stuff. I'm just going to put a few rows in above this. If it wants to go through my needle again. We'll use the other end. It does like to fray this stuff, but it's really good for weaving. Cool, so I'm just going to go under, over, under, over, under, over. Just the way across, like that. Again, leaving my little tail. Just pat that down. If you don't want it, if you want quite a big chunky bit there, don't pat down too much because you will crush those up. Just gonna come back this way again. Okay. So now I'm going to show you a little technique that I use to make nice little loops. I've just got some of my knitting needles. So I'm going to get another bit of this yarn. Thread it through my needle. Cool. So I'm just going to thread it through as if normal, so the opposite of what it was before. Leave quite a tail in this one. Coming all the way through. But before I crush it down, I'm going to get my needle, and in these gaps, so make sure this doesn't come out because you need to keep hold of, so I'm just going to keep hold of that as I go. And just all I'm doing is grabbing, pulling it a little bit and looping it on. So again, I don't know if I can see this very well, just grabbing that little loop and I'm putting my needle through it, grabbing but in the next gap, pulling it a little bit that way so it gets from this end, and then I'm just going to put my needle through the loop, pulling, grab around, pull, grab around, pull, round. Obviously you can use lots of different colours so it stands out a bit better. I am just using this because it's chunkier, so it'll work quicker and you can see it better. And then you just want to push it down, keeping hold of that and that, a little beat. Okay, so this is then up to you and you can work through how you want to work, but if you want it to be so all the loops are in the same bit, they're right directly above each other, pop a bit of this going through this way, then you'll end up weaving through the same loops again and then beat it through like normal, or you can just go straight in and put another one in, which will put it in the other way. Every like 2 of these I'm going to put some of this anyway to hold it a bit stronger. So I'm going to thread my next lot in, because ideally you don't really want to take the needle out until you've got like 3 rows of something else. Oh, it's the 3rd row. You'll see what I mean in a minute. I'm just going through. This is what have we got here? Oh, I've just looped it around the blooming needle. There we go. So this again, you have to watch with your edges because you are in danger of looping them. So I'm just going to grab another needle. I'm keeping them, actually says relatively the same width as each other, just I don't know where the other needle of this is on. So again, just gonna pull through there, just making sure I'm pulling it coming from this way and not that edge, because if not it's going to pull that right in. So I'm just doing exactly the same, just going the other way. Tucking it in like that. Cool. And then grabbing this back again, and this one I am just gonna weave through like normal, just to give it a little bit more structure. So where did I just come through? So I need to go this way. Now again, if you wanted it to be so your next one won't be directly above this, just go back around the other way again. So I'm just going to pat that down. And now I can pull out that one and just push it in a bit more. I'm not too fussed about it being sat on the top of the other one, but I am, because I'm just demonstrating so you guys can see, so I'm not going to worry too much. But I'm just going to do one more. Actually, it's probably best we leave it there. So if I just keep going like that, the idea of how it works. So now you've got this little resin fluffy bit. It's quite padded, squishy. Cool. So with my next trick, literally I've just got this yarn here and I can get the end of it. Cool. I'm literally just gonna pop this on the floor. If you've got a ball of yarn, I suggest putting it in like a box or something, because it will bounce around everywhere. Cool, so I'm just going to go back the opposite way I came. So over, under, like this. Cool, and then all I'm going to do is, so I've got my bit like this, and I've got my other yarn here. All I'm going to do now is hold this in the sand, and I'm just going to wrap that round there like that, and I'm going to go back through the way I came, so doing exactly the same as I did before, like that. And then depending on where I want it, I'm going to move it this way, or I can move it this way. The difficulty is I haven't doubled this up, so it isn't the same thickness. So realistically you want something that's going to be a similar thickness to the yarn you're using that way, so they build up at the same time. But I'm just doing mine quickly so you can see what I mean. But I can squish this down a bit more, and then I'm just going to pat it down like that. So you can see I'm just going to put this tail there. So I'm literally just going to do exactly the same thing again, but on the opposite direction. So what it's doing now is it'll grow slightly quicker than it would normally, because this is being doubled in here. Oh, sorry, ignore the dog. Probably demanding his daily walk. So again, I've got the end. You want the end that's attached to the cone still, or the ball. So with my yarn, I'm literally just going to put that over like that. So it's just, what it's doing is just hooking that other bit, and then I'm going to go back through the way I came again, like this. And I'm just going to keep building, so it's half and half, but you can start to make a bit of a diagonal thing going on. So if you just pull that through, so if you do bit by bit, it'll just climb stairs, or if if you wanted to do something random so it was kind of zigzaggy, that works too. Something you can get really creative with. So that is like, you can see what's going on, and again just gonna probably gonna run out soon. Just gonna go back through again. Almost made it all the way. Cool. Obviously being conscious of I have only got a little bit on here. If you do run out, it doesn't matter, you can just literally, as you would normally, hold your little tail so it doesn't pull all the way through, and just join on. It makes no difference. There we go. Back through again. And get it on that bit that I wanted. Making sure, so if you just do that, it'll just pull it out a little bit. Just making sure you're not pulling the edges, and make sure that you are pulling enough that it's not going to be really loose on the edges. And then I'm just going to pat it down. And that is how you do that. So that's just a little tutorial I've got for you guys on how to do some tapestry weaving. If you did enjoy the video and liked what you learned, and you want to learn a bit more, or know how to thread these back through the other side to neaten it off, to finish off the whole tapestry by like finishing this edge off and learning some rye loops, please let me know what it is you want to know. Or if you just want to know a little bit more, please do comment, let us know, and then I can do another video if everybody's up for it. Okay, lovely. Hopefully this all goes well for you guys. Enjoy and have a nice week.